So by the time you're watching this video, it will be the year 2024. But as of me recording this, it's still the year 2023. So, well, I don't need an excuse to look back at 2023. I'm going to do it whether it's 2023 or 2024. I'm still look back at 2023. So, with all that said, let's get on with the meat of this video. Alright, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. It's the boy True, and today's date is still Sunday, December the 31st, like I said. Now, before we get into the meat of this video, I talked about this in the other video. I'm going to talk about this here as well, and that is this. My merch store, it is completely discounted throughout the entire store. If you use the code, either it's Wolverine or Wolverines with an S. I don't remember, I think it's Wolverines with an S. But yeah, if you use that code at the merch store, you're going to get 20% off throughout whatever it is that you order. There may be some restrictions, so keep that in mind as well. Now, how long will this code last? Well, here's the thing. Later on today, or it may be even right now when this video drops, Michigan is in the college football semi-playoffs. So if they were to win, then the code will continue on. But if they lose, the code is gone. It's over. The 20% discount will be donezo if they lose today. Now, it will be extended if they win till next week, where they will be in the national championship game. If they win that, then the code will be going on throughout the entire month of January. But if they lose there, then the code is gone as well. So yeah, y'all need to be cheering, go blue. So yeah, there you go with that. Now, let's move on to the meat of this video. So we're gonna look back at my top 10 moments from the year 2023. Let's start things off with number 10. Number 10, we gotta go all the way back to February, and we talking about the Gold Tour Horn event that took place in Vegas. So, wow, this is my second time going to Vegas, so Vegas was already on my bucket list, but it was nice to go back. It was cool to go back to Vegas. Now, you're probably wondering, why is a trip to Vegas so low on your list? Well, here's the thing. Well, the part that they chose for the event was terrible. It was too big. There was a part, there was like a desert part in there, and then it was just too big, so there was that issue. And then on the first day, there was connection issues, where it didn't matter who your carrier was, everybody was experiencing the connection issues. So there was that as well. And the weather was weird because it would start off where it would be cold, where you need like a jacket of some kind, like a light jacket. Not like a rental coat or anything like that, but you need a light jacket of some kind. But then when it gets to the afternoon, like we're talking 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, it's going to be hot. So you're going to have to take the jacket off. But then when it gets to 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you're going to need to put the jacket back on. So the weather was weird. It was really, really weird out there. So, well, yeah, it was cool to go to Vegas and all that jazz, but at the same time, it was like, the event could have been better. The location, in terms of the park, could have been better. There was a lot of things that could have been better about that trip, but yet, nevertheless, it was still cool meeting, people. Met Santa Vanetta for the first time, so that was really cool. Obviously, was hanging with Cricket, so of course that was cool. I saw Super Trainer Sakura out there, because I haven't seen her in a good minute, so that was nice. And then I actually met Training Tips family, so that was pretty cool. And they obviously, and his mom actually knows who I am, so that was actually surprising, to be honest. But yeah, there were some good moments out there where Crazy came back for a bit and chopping up with some of you guys, a part of the community, so that was cool. So yeah, that was number 10. Let's move on to number 9. Number 9, we had to go to, what is this, like late June, early July, when I was like traveling like crazy in this summer. So I just got back from Florida, and I think I was only back for like a day, but I was out again because I had to go to the family reunion that was in or around Houston, Texas, or the Metro Houston area, wherever the case, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, naturally I was out there playing Pokemon Go. I actually got a Galarian Zapdos, and I actually used the Master Ball on the Galarian Zapdos while I was out there. And then of course we went to the farm, hanging out with the family, obviously, for the family reunion. And yeah, that was a pretty fun trip. That was a fun trip. The hotel that I stayed at was extremely nice. It was really, really dope, man. I gave a tour on my Instagram, so yeah, y'all should probably check that out if y'all haven't seen it. But yeah, it was extremely nice, if I do say so myself. So there was not that many issues with the trip itself. In terms of Pogo, there was nothing exciting outside of the Galarian bird fiasco. But yeah, the fact that I was able to go back to Houston again, it was cool. It was cool. It was number 9 because it wasn't exactly spectacular or anything like that. So there's that. Now let's move on to number 8. Number 8. So before the Houston trip, I remember I was in Florida. So before the Houston trip, I was in Miami. Miami was another one of those spots that's in my bucket list, and I was so happy to get that off my bucket list. Now, what I will admit is this, and this is, I guess you could say part of this is indeed my fault because I probably should have mentioned this more, but before the trip. But the thing about the Miami trip, there was like 2-3 things about the Miami trip. One, we only spent like 10 minutes at the beach. Like, I'll be honest, the whole purpose of me wanting to go to Miami is to hang out at the beach. So to spend only 10 minutes at the beach was like bland. So that's number one. Number two, even though there was a, like the number, like, okay, hold up. Obviously you got Miami, then you got Miami Beach. We was at Miami Beach. So there was a lot of Pokestops down there. There was a lot of gyms down there. The problem was when I'm going down there with my day one bros, none of them played Pokemon Go. And there was nobody else playing Pokemon Go around that I saw. So you have all of these shadow rays. I think it was Articuno that was out and about, but nobody was there. Nobody was there to do the raids, and it was so frustrating to see that you got all these Pokestops, you got all these gyms, but it felt like I was not, even though it's not true, but they was like so scarce and scattered all over the place, and it was limited. It was like only 5 of us throughout Miami Beach that plays Pokemon Go, but we had no idea. So because we didn't know each other or whatever the case may be, we couldn't find each other to like do some raids and stuff like that. So that was frustrating. So that was number 2. Number 3 was when you go out to eat, they like to charge you for a bunch of different stuff. Obviously you got taxes, and then you got this fee, and then you got that fee, and then you got this fee. And the majority of the food was decent at best. If you went to go to Miami, and Miami Beach to be exact, if you don't want to do the typical fast food chains like the McDonald's, like the Subways, like the Burger Kings, if you can find those, and you want to, dine somewhere, there's 2 spots I would highly recommend you go. One of them is the Round and Out restaurant. I forgot the exact name of it, but they don't charge you an arm and a leg, and their food was actually pretty good. And then number 2, this is somewhat of an honorable mention, and that's the DJ Khaled spot. So the food there was pretty good as well, and they had some pretty interesting drinks there, and they didn't charge you an arm and a leg or anything crazy like that in comparison to the other sit-down restaurants. So if you go to Miami Beach and you want to sit down somewhere, those would be the only 2 spots I would say go. Otherwise, go to a McDonald's, go to a Burger King, go to a Subway, something like that. But despite that, it's Miami. So obviously, and with my boys. So of course, I still had a good time being in Miami. And the funny thing was, our original flight got canceled, so we had to stay an extra day, which was crazy. So there's that as well. All right, so that was number 8. Let's move on to number 7. That is totally not 7. What the heck is wrong with me? This is 7. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7, we gotta go back to the Go to a Hornet event. Now, this ain't Vegas. This is the global version. Now, the global version, I don't remember what I did. I think I did day 1 and day 2 downtown Detroit. And the reason why I picked this one right here and really over the Vegas one, because I had a better time getting the shinies. First of all, the game wasn't broken like it was in Vegas to start off with. And I had more shinies doing the global event that I did in Vegas, which was crazy. Even though like the last hour of day 2, I had to go to dinner, which was downtown Detroit. So that's the main reason why I went down there on day 2. I don't remember I was down there day 1 or if I was at the Civic Center Dearborn. I think I was in, now that I think about it, I think I was at the Civic Center in Dearborn for day 1, but day 2 I was definitely in downtown Detroit because of that dinner. But I had a good time walking around, looking for shinies, getting the shinies, and even going out to dinner with the fam was fun as well. Because even when we sat down, I still went out and I got like a shiny or 2 before the event actually ended. So that was actually pretty fun. So let's move on to number 6. Number 6, I talked about it in my last video, and that was the trip to Fort Wayne, Indiana for regional. So even though it was during WrestleMania weekend and I had to rewatch day 1, cause I did rewatch day 1 cause I didn't see everything, cause I was out getting pizza and stuff like that. But it was still fun. Like Fort Wayne, Indiana has to be slightly my favorite spot over Indianapolis, Indiana. In terms of all the places I've been to Indiana, which is 3. But Fort Wayne, Indiana is chill, is nice. Like there was no issues out there. Like I really enjoyed my time in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And I slightly favor that over downtown Indianapolis. And downtown Indianapolis was really, really dope. Like, so, and in fact, I'm going back there this coming May to compete at regionals this time around. Here I was just covering it. So this was my first time going to a regional tournament. So that was actually pretty fun. That was pretty exciting to see everything that goes down back there and to be behind the scenes. Shout out to Daniel for hooking me up with that as well. So yeah, Fort Wayne, number 6. And also the Pidgey event took place around this time as well, which was hilarious. So yeah, that's number 6. Now let's move on to number 5. Number 5 on my list. So here's the thing. When I went to Japan in 2023, it was just a straight up plane ride from Chicago straight to Japan, and that was it. On the way back, however, was a different story. I had to go here, then I had to go there before I had to go back to Chicago. It was crazy. It was really crazy. And of course, I took the train back home to Detroit because I took the train to Chicago. But yeah, one of those places that I had to make a stop at before I got back to Chicago was Hawaii. So yes, I had a layover in Hawaii, which is funny because the day before my flight, it was announced at Worlds, because I was at Worlds. It was announced at Worlds that this year's Worlds was at Honolulu, Hawaii. So I was just laughing because I'm like, yo, I got a flight to Honolulu, Hawaii tomorrow. And yeah, I took the flight, I made my way out there, and I got 2 regionals while I was out there in Honolulu, and it was nice. Like oh my gosh, the weather in comparison to how it was in Japan, which was super hot to the point where actually I think I got sunburn on my shoulders, and that was like the first time I got sunburn, and I didn't even realize I had sunburn until like I was telling people like, yo, my shoulders were hurting a little bit, and I think I was peeling off parts of my skin, and they was like, oh, you had sunburn. I'm like, oh, that's what that is? Because prior to that, I never had sunburn before, so it was really hot in Japan. But in Hawaii, you would think it would be just as hot, but no, it felt good. It's probably because I was by the water, and it's always cool by the water. The airport was by the water. I walked out the airport to a nearby beach, again, water. But based on what I saw, it was nice. It was really gorgeous, and I really enjoyed myself in Hawaii. Even though it was like I was only there for like 8 hours or so, I still got the regionals that I wanted. I saw, the spots there, and I was just hanging out, chilling, kicking it, relaxing, mellowing out a bit. But yeah, Hawaii, Honolulu, extremely nice. And yes, I will try to make it there for Worlds in 2024. So there's that. Now let's move on to number 4. Number 4 was actually the last trip that I did in 2023, and I'm talking about Mexico City. So Mexico City was extremely fun, getting the shiny Go-Goats and the Haluchas and all that jazz, taking part in the event and hanging out with Lando Alpha, Jesse and Rachel, Mrs. Mine, Brandon Tom was down there, JT Valor was down there, Training Tips was down there, meeting Palo for the first time and actually hanging out with him and being at his dad's house, and we were just hanging out chilling. That was fun. Hanging out with my guy Steven again. Glitch and V was down there as well. Awesome Adam and his woman was down there, so that was pretty cool. And we went to a Lucha. Oh yeah, and then Andreas was down there as well. And it was fun. It was really fun. And we went to a Lucha Libre show Friday night. And if y'all didn't see Training Tips Mexico City video, y'all need to watch it. And then if y'all, to be more specific, first of all, watch the whole thing. The whole thing was really good. But the last 10 minutes was really funny. It was really hilarious. We was at the Lucha Libre show. I got the shiny Genesect, and that was in his video. And I got my La Parka mask while I was down there. It was fun. It was really fun. I had a great time with the Lucha Libre show. I had a great time walking around Mexico City and exploring the sights and the sounds and all that jazz. And, to get a taste of that atmosphere. It was really cool. The problem was their sidewalk, their concrete is terrible. Like, you can easily mess up your ankles while walking down there. And that's what happened to me. Like, I messed up my ankles. And I think it took about like a week and a half to 2 weeks before they were fully healed. So, yeah, that was crazy. That was ridiculously crazy. So, yeah. Outside of that, though, it was a great trip. Without question, it was a great trip. Now, let's move on to number 3. Number 3. So, y'all know I'm going to have to bring this up. I talked about going to Texas. Before that, I was in Miami. Well, here's number 3. Before that, I was in Orlando for like 2 weeks. So, yeah, I was in Orlando. So basically the deal was I went down there for Axel Community Day, and I was hanging out with V2 Mike. And major shout out to V2 Mike and his family for hosting me, man, because we hung out for like that first week, and it was loads of fun. Like, I did a bunch of stuff. Like, we went to Disney Springs. We went to his cousin's house that had like their own ski boat. They had their own golf thing in their house, in their mansion actually. And you know, we was on a boat just cruising around this giant lake. It was cool. It was really, really cool, man. It was really, really cool. We did a lot of stuff. But obviously with the Active Community Day event, here's the thing. Not only was it Active Community Day, but it was also the release of the Shiny or the Shadow Articuno raid. So we were doing that as well. And then I got Shiny Jirachi while I was taking part in Active Community Day at Disney Springs. So all that went down there. Disney Springs is phenomenal. It's really, really phenomenal. If you're going down there for Disney World or whatever, you have to hit up Disney Springs. It's absolutely free to get in, by the way. But phenomenal. Phenomenal spot. So yeah, that's number 3 on my list. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2, we gonna be talking about Go Fest here, obviously. And number 2 on my list is Go Fest New York. So obviously that's gonna make my top 2 because we talk about Go Fest New York. New York, the Mecca, the 8th wonder of the world. Orange and blue skies, baby. Orange and blue skies. Go New York, go New York, go. And more importantly than that, Go Fest New York was on my birthday. And I was a noticeable trainer, so that means I had like 3 meet and greets that were official by Niantic. And then of course I had a 4th meet and greet that took place outside the park. So yeah, Go Fest New York was phenomenal. And again, New York was another spot on my bucket list that I was able to cross off that year. So to see New York, to be downtown, and to see all those buildings, stuff like that was phenomenal. It was exciting. The only issue was the park. Like the park was just so out the way. It was like Randall's Park. It was just out the raid, and like parts of it was like, it was weird. I think parts of it was blocked off, so you had to take an alternate route to get to the other half of the park that was a part of Go Fest. It was weird. It was very, very weird. So outside of that though, Go Fest New York, phenomenal. Got a lot of shinies there, but it's not my number 1. Y'all know what my number 1 is. Come on, let's get on. Let's get to it. Number 1. It's Japan. Like, come on, bro. It's Japan. I spent about 2 weeks in Japan. And it all started off with Kyoto. I instantly fell in love with Kyoto. Probably like my 2nd day there. I fell in love with Kyoto. I was there to get pictures and to shoot the documentary that was a part of the Kyoto Hour Volume 10, which was my last Kyoto Hour album that I dropped. So that was for the deluxe edition and the ultimate edition. Both still available at trueinferno.bandcamp.com, by the way. The standard edition is available there as well, but it's also on Spotify and all major online music retailers and streaming services. But you want to go to bandcamp.com if you want to download it because it's the cheapest place to pick it up. I mean, it's $2. So there's that. But back to the trip. So yeah, that Kyoto trip was phenomenal to me. Kyoto is my all-time favorite place in the entire planet. Nothing else comes close to Kyoto. I love Kyoto and I can't wait to go back. Unfortunately, it would not be 2024, but I can't wait to go back to Kyoto. But then after that, went to Osaka for Go Fest, and a lot of things that happened. First of all, downtown Osaka is gorgeous, it's phenomenal, and I got redemption. The shiny unknown O. This thing has been eluding me ever since the incident back in 2020, but I finally got the shiny unknown O, and there's more stories involving the shiny unknown O. And obviously, I was hanging out with other content creators while I was in Japan. You know, obviously met Yuri again, hanging out with V Glitch, Awesome Adam, Training Tips, Mr. 7, JT Gilly, Zoe Two Dots. The cruise ship was down there. PKMM Kaz, Mrs. PKMM Kaz. It was a bunch of people was there. A bunch of people was in Osaka. I know at the same time some people went to London as well, but a bunch of people was at Osaka. And then of course, after Osaka Go Fest, it was Tokyo. I was hanging out there for a bit, and then Worlds was in Yokohama, and I blew up. I got like 10 shiny unknowns. And I got more shiny unknown O's. And the newest one at the time, shiny unknown Y, I got a bunch of those as well. And it was crazy because it was also referencing Trainer Tips video as well, where he literally tell y'all,
go watch True Inferno's video.
So yeah, it was fun. Oh yeah, and Reversa was there too. I also met Philly Bishu. I saw Leon. And there were just so many people that I met. Digi, oh man, it was just so many people that I met while I was in Japan. That trip was phenomenal. That was a much better trip than the 2019 trip because I was only down there for like 8 days or so. Here I was out there for like 2 weeks. So yeah, I feel like I did that trip right, but I still want to do more. I still have a little bit of unfinished business with Japan. Not to mention I want to go to because Japan have 3 islands. They have the main island, then you have the western island, and you have the northern island. Like the likes of Tokyo and Osaka, Osaka rather, Yokohama and Kyoto. They all on the main islands. I'm gonna go to both the rest of the island and the northern island the next time I go back. Not to mention go back to Tokyo. Not to mention go back to, oh, of course, go back to Kyoto. So yeah, that Japan trip that lasts for 2 weeks, that is #1 without question. Playing Pokemon Go down there, phenomenal, without question, phenomenal. And Shibuya, can't forget about Shibuya. That place was spectacular as well. So there you go with that. That's my top 10 moments for 2023. I'm looking forward to 2024 because a lot of stuff is already in the books in terms of trips and things of that nature. One of them is already booked in terms of the Go to Ashino trip, which is in LA in February. So obviously I will be out for that. So that's in the book. And then there's like 2 trips that I'm gonna be doing in March. So there's that. And then we talked about the Worlds in Hawaii. I'm gonna try to go to TwitchCon, which will be later in the year. And then of course, the reason why I'm not going to the reason why I'm not going to Japan this year, I'm gonna try to go to Australia, because that's the last thing on my bucket list. Once I get that out the way, my first bucket list will be over, and then I can focus on my second bucket list. So a lot to do in 2024. I'm hoping that it will be just as fun as it was in 2023, because it was pretty exciting, if I do say so myself. So I'm gonna call it a wrap. And with all that said, y'all know what this is. This is brand new J Gatsby, aka new Steve name Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah. Subscribe. Thanks, man. Do it. After you subscribe to the channel, make sure you click the bell icon so you never miss a new video or a live stream ever again. Thanks, guys.
Lewis the trainer, articulating paint. With my tongue, I done things that people said I can't. Now they rank 'em with the elite, but it's for the people, and victory is part of defeat. Cause when you get back on your feet, then you try again. Learn from mistakes, show 'em that I got what it takes, and I'm dying to win. I'ma hit and move away.